Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome to one of my Cotswold Walks. Today we're in Gloucestershire, the far eastern part of the Gloucestershire between Stow-on-the-Wold and the Oxfordshire border. Well, I got up super early this morning. It's forecast again to be a very hot day here in the early part of September. But I've got for you a most beautiful landscape. The sun's only been up about 20 minutes or so and the mist is lying low across the land. Today we're going on a very short circular walk taking in both Upper and Lower Oddington and both of its churches, the Victorian one and the much older one. So why not join me again here on West Country Wanderings for another Cotswold Walks. Just like neighbouring Upper and Lower Slaughter, which is nearer the town of Bourton-on-the-Water, we're close to Stow-on-the-Wold today, and Oddingtons, or the Oddingtons, have the Lower and Upper Oddington. I'm going to be looking at both of those on our shorter walk today, as I say, because of the heat. It's already 20 degrees and it's not even 7 o'clock in the morning yet. So yes, it's going to be a warm one today. So I want to finish mid-morning before the heat gets up too much here. So yeah, I'm just going to take you around Lower Oddington, tell you a little bit about the village here. Beautiful Cotswold twin villages, as you can see, with the honey-coloured Cotswold stone, of course. And then we're going to make our way to a very, very special church, which lies completely separately from both of the villages. Now, when you have the lower light or lower angle of the sun at this time of the morning, it really does enhance the honey-coloured nature of the Cotswold stone. It's been an absolute delight. Actually, last night I was filming a sunset, so it was really strange getting up before it got light this morning. In fact, I only just arrived, or just as I was making my way across the Cotswold Hills, was the sun coming up. Lovely reddish tinge to the light, and I'm actually stopped near a field to do that introduction for you, and I couldn't resist that with the mist lying low across the fields. Lower Oddington has a pub, or rather an inn. You can stay here. It's an independent inn and it's called the Horse and Groom, right in the heart of the village here. But yeah, that's wonderful with the not sure what is that, topiary covering it as well. It looks an absolute delight. Could it be going back? And the other pleasure about filming this time of day, of course, you've got much less traffic volumes and noise as well. The thing about the Horse and Groom pub here has this most delightful garden for seating here, for drinks. They probably have events here as well, maybe barbecues. You've got a lovely little stream there with a little cute bridge going across the top of it. So this really is one of those picture postcard perfect villages with the roses out here and the restored brickwork as well. A lot of the cottages here are holiday lets as well these days, as well as being some farms in the area. So we're close to Oxfordshire as well now, and we're not that far from cities of Oxford and further across towards places like Banbury, this side of the eastern half of Gloucestershire. But yeah, the real deep honey coloured to the village here. And I did say earlier on, we were in Lower Oddington. We're actually in Upper Oddington, but we will be making our way across to Lower Oddington shortly. The village of Upper Oddington forms a circle off like a spine road which links the two villages together, and that is where we're going to carry on down following that road. It isn't a busy road. There is a busier road which is the main road that heads back into Stow-on-the-Wold though here. So it's just fantastic light and great to be out early in the morning when it's lovely and quiet. Now, like a lot of these Cotswold villages, it formed part of an original estate, and it was once the seat of the Chamberlain family. In 1780, the entire Chamberlain estate, which formed part of these two villages that we see here, was left to one Elizabeth Ann Wilson by a mysterious person called Crail. I've not been able to verify that. It's just something that I've seen on the internet, but if I can find out some more information about who Crail was and why he left the vast Oddington estate to Elizabeth Ann Wilson, I will put that in the usual way below. Now what you see here is called Denland's Copse, and the little sign tells me it was planted to commemorate the Platinum Jubilee, the late HM Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. Always good to see woodlands being planted. Now once I've edited this video and published it, I will release the details of the exact route, and I'll put a link in the description of today's video if you want to follow and do it yourself. So I will have checked it for veracity, but there make no guarantees for any late changes to routes with the landowners. A really old gate there. I think the latch had been broken, so you had to undo a knot that was tied by a blue rope. Just tied it back again because they've got a couple of sheep in their field there. But we're making our way first of all to a chapel, which is the main, I think is the one that's mainly used to serve the two villages here. And this one, somewhat strangely, has a pin you have to remove. It's almost like trying to set off a grenade. But yeah, so that's the field we've come through that way, making our way from Upper Oddington towards Lower Oddington. I've now got the chapel behind me. Now, Elizabeth Ann Wilson was married to Charles Lorraine Smith. In 1784, she sold her inheritance to Sir John Reed. Now, Sir John Reed then went about purchasing other plots of land in the area so it became one of the largest Cotswold estates here in Gloucestershire. Oddington House, which is where we'll be closer to when we get to the park near the older church, was modified by Lady Reed in 1810. It was a 17th century built, and it's now a Grade 2 listed building being added to the register in the early 1960s. It's a delight in the morning golden light. It's a bit later now, so people are getting up, hence the traffic noise. It's now about 20 to 8 in the morning. So now we're in Lower Oddington and things are starting to wake up. It's coming up to 8 o'clock now, and already builders are starting on their developments, various extensions people are having, and cultivation with properties here. So we're starting to build up with noise. It's certainly increasing with heat as well. It's probably already gone up about 4 or 5 degrees since I left my car back in Upper Oddington. But still, we're going to make our way through this village here and down to the 11th century church. We're currently skirting around the edge of Oddington Park. It's off to my left just over there, and of course it is private, so we're not allowed access into there. But we're on this delightful road, which is very, very quiet here this morning. I'm not sure where it goes to. Nowhere in particular, I don't think. And say we've got the 11th century St Nicholas Church just coming up this way. We're actually going to make our way not back through Lower Oddington, but across the fields. I'll take us back into Upper Oddington and to return to the start of the walk. I can't remember the exact mileage now. I'm probably going to hazard less and get this completely wrong, but it's only about 5 kilometres this walk today. And my OS map app says it takes about an hour, because it'll take me at least a couple of hours with the filming and doing pieces to camera and photography and that sort of thing. But yes, if you want to stroll, you probably should be able to do it in about an hour or so. So it's a nice, if you live in this area in part of West Oxfordshire, East Gloucestershire, it's a nice morning stroll. Now, as the sign says there, the church was built in Saxon times. We came across one of those recently on the Severn Way, didn't we, at Deerhurst, where we had 2 Saxon churches. It actually belonged to St Peter's Abbey in Gloucester, but was ceded to the See of York. I'm not sure why, that's a long way out of my region, that's for sure. See of York in 1157. The Archbishop of York was also Lord of the Manor of Oddington, and Henry III, who lived from 1216 to 1272, often stayed at the Archbishop's residence. Henry's visits led to a major expansion of the church. The old nave became the south aisle and was divided from the early Gothic by the 2-bay arcade. A new tower was built above the old chancel, which became a chapel. The present chancel is 15th century with 20th century reredos. In the 1300s, 2 handsome decorated windows were inserted into the south wall, but were destroyed in the Civil War, Second English Civil War, I believe. The royalists under Prince Rupert suffered a major defeat in Oddington in 1643, so I don't know the exact location of that battle here in Oddington, but yes, I wasn't aware that there was a Civil War battle here in these 2 very quiet villages in the Cotswolds. This is a wonderful and gloriously peaceful churchyard here. The Church of St Nicholas, which started off in Saxon times and was remodelled and rebuilt in the 11th century and knocked him out a bit in the Second English Civil War. Unfortunately, the church is locked. I did kind of expect that, because there are so many wonderful ancient treasures in there and they can't risk them being attacked by vandalism these days. I would imagine it probably opens. They do hold services here. I'm not sure how frequently they are. If I can find that out, I'll put that in the bottom of the screen the usual way. We've also got a little woodland here. We'll have a quick explore of that before we have a quick explore around the exterior of the church. So next to the churchyard we have this magnificent woodland, which I think belongs to the deanery, so it would be the Diocese of Gloucester, I would imagine. And there's a fence that side which takes you into Oddington Park, which of course is private. You can't get a glimpse of the house either, which, as I say, was remodelled in the 19th century, early part of the 19th century, but it looks like a tremendous place. If I can see a photograph of it on the old web, I'll stick that up round about now. Now it's coming up to 9 o'clock and the day is really starting to warm up. I'm nearly back in my car in Upper Oddington. Sorry, I got my Upper and Lower Oddingtons confused earlier in the day, but it's been a delightful short one. Sorry, it's been a short one today, but it's forecast to be possibly the warmest day of the year today. Yes, I think we're well into September and warmest day. Yeah, can you believe that? We had a disappointing. I always expect August to be disappointing. It's usually the wet month and it would busy and hot, as I said before, but it being so warm prevents me filming for extended period of time, so I do apologise for that. We are promised some cooler weather next week when I'll be heading down into Devon. That's it for today here on West Country Wanderings. Just a reminder, I will put a description of the route of today's walk, so you can find the link to that in the description. That'll take you to the Ordnance Survey map site, and then you'll be able to look at the route yourself. As I say, we are close to the towns of Stow-on-the-Wold and Bourton-on-Walker. Speaking of which, I'm going to head into Stow-on-the-Wold now, grab myself a cold drink, do a little bit of photography around the town, and I'll conclude today's video with some photographs I've taken of Stow-on-the-Wold. I hope you enjoyed it today. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Bye-bye.